Hey, this is Tommy Shannon.
Tommy, it's an honor to talk to you, man.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Let's go ahead and catch up with you real quick. It's been about 14 years since the tragedy. What are you up to personally these days, man?
Well, actually, I'm doing a lot of different things. Like we were out on the road with Buddy Guy for about 6 weeks. And Chris and I have been doing dates with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. We put a band that we had in 1971 back together. Me and this friend of mine, Uncle John, the drummer from Johnny Winter.
Yeah.
And Chris and I have got some other gigs with other people, so I've been doing a lot of different things, doing some session work, stuff like that.
So you're keeping very busy.
Yeah, I really have.
You know, it's so cool seeing a resurgence of classic rock these days. You got the Skynyrd and Zeppelin and Floyd shirts resurfacing in these little pop stores and malls. And you got kids calling in the request lines like 13, 14 years old calling to hear some old Stevie Ray. And they say,
I know, that's great, too, because, that music back then was real. You know, it was real players, and it was a very special time. And it's kind of encouraging when the younger kids start going back and looking that stuff up. I know a lot of them myself, and I think that's great.
Now, obviously, today is about Stevie Ray Vaughan, the final show, August 26, 1990, Alpine Valley, opening up for Eric Clapton. You were there.
Right.
Tell us about the first time you met Stevie Ray. I think he was like 13 or 14 in some blues bar in Texas.
Yeah, he was 14 years old. What's really strange about this, it's the same place I met Johnny Winter.
Wow.
This club in Dallas, it was called The Fog. And I was playing there like 8 hours a night for about 3 months, making good money, but, long hours. And Johnny Winter came in one time and asked me to play bass with him. And, of course, that went a long way. And when we broke up, I flew back to Dallas and went back to The Fog, and that night is when I met Stevie. And I remember I was walking through the door, and I heard this guitar player, and you know how sometimes in the middle of a crowd and everybody's talking, you hear something that just grabs your attention. And I walked in, it was this little scrawny, pigeon-toed kid, ears real big, just like you would imagine.
Yeah.
And him and I were friends ever since,
Let's go ahead and fast blast to 1980, Houston, Texas. Double Trouble is already formed. You got Stevie Ray getting loose. You got Chris behind the drum kit, and some cat named Jackie Newhouse. Take it from there. You walk in. Take it from there.
They were playing at Rockefeller's, and I was living in Houston at the time playing, and I thought, well, I haven't seen Stevie in a couple of years. I'll go out and hear him. But, it was no big deal in my mind until I walked in the front door and I saw him play, and it was like this revelation. I don't know how to explain it, like it was a beam of light. That's where I belong, right there.
Yeah.
And I was shameless about it. I ran up to him when they took a break, and I don't know who all was listening, but I said, I belong in this band, Stevie. You got to hire me.
Pretty arrogant, but that's cool, man.
Yeah, well, I had to, It's like, I belong here. You don't understand. I belong in this band.
Talking to Tommy Shannon, the bass player from Double Trouble again. Thank you very much for your time today, man. We really appreciate that. Did they ask Jackie to leave? Did Jackie quit, or what happened?
They let him go.
Okay, so you're on board now with Double Trouble. Talk about the milk truck days. You're touring the country in a milk truck.
Right. We named it the African Queen.
The what?
The African Queen.
The African Queen.
Yeah, and the second one we named Sky King.
Nice.
Yeah, when I moved down to Austin to start playing with Stevie, we were only making $200 a week. I had to pay our own taxes out of that, and we were traveling all over the country in a milk truck.
Man.
And it was rigged up with a couch behind the front seats and this bed. The equipment was behind that. We had this bed. It wasn't really a bed. It was like a plank of wood. Every time he hit the brakes, it'd roll forward, and he'd take off and roll backwards. So it wasn't exactly luxury, But we were doing what we loved. That was the main thing.
And getting paid for it, too.
Right. And, I'm convinced that the reason that band really became successful was because we loved what we were doing. We were passionate about it, and all the rest was a byproduct of that.
Give me a story about Stevie Ray that nobody knows about from back in the days.
Oh, God. Well, I'd like to, but I can't. I've got some good stories, but I wouldn't want to embarrass his family.
No, I respect you, man. I respect you. Again, we're talking to Tommy
I'll tell
Shannon.
you in private sometime.
Yes, I look forward to that. Again, we're talking to Tommy Shannon, the bass player from Double Trouble. How bad did it really get out there with the drugs?
Well, it got real bad toward the end. There was a few years there we were having fun. It was just it wasn't really hurting us for a long time, and we were just having a ball. And gradually it started tearing us down, and it got worse and worse. And Stevie and I could both see we were headed for this brick wall, and we couldn't stop. I mean, we got on our knees together one night in a hotel room and prayed, for help, because it was a very terrifying moment.
Paint us a picture now.
Well, I remember we were in this hotel room, real nice hotel in Dallas, and there was this big pile of cocaine, probably at least an ounce, the real sparkly. And we were talking, well, why can't we stop? We couldn't figure it out. And we were starting to hurt so bad, we actually got down on our knees and prayed. But about 5 months later, the prayer was answered. We hit that brick wall. And it's like from there, you got nowhere to go but up. You got to crawl back up to reach the ground,
So you went to treatment, and Stevie went to treatment?
Yeah. Both of us checked in the same day at different places.
And by the grace of God, it worked.
Oh, yeah, exactly, by the grace of God.
Let's move ahead now to August 26, 1990, Alpine Valley, East Troy, Wisconsin. Go ahead and take it from there.
Well, I don't think our band ever sounded better than it did those 2 nights. I mean, it was on fire.
And you're sober now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first record, Instep, that was our first sober record.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's the best. And I remember when Stevie played with Eric Clapton, he came out, and it was outdoors, and he hit this note, and it's like it went through everything, the mountains, the sky, and it was kind of like this, I don't know how to describe it. You can kind of picture it.
Redefining perfection.
Yeah, just one note. It just went through everything. And, I mean, he played so great. And, in the blink of an eye, it was all over.
It was a big helicopter convoy to Chicago. You went on your helicopter, Stevie Ray on his.
Yeah, I mean, one of the really sad parts about it is after we got clean and sober, I mean, as you can tell, Instep, we were really coming together creatively. And we were real excited about our next record because we had a bunch of ideas, and we were starting to write more together, like we did Crossfire.
Yeah.
And we were real excited. And I don't know exactly what we would have come up with yet. We didn't get that far. But, God, I bet it would have been great.
Absolutely. This is, again, so exciting, talking to Tommy Shannon, the bass player from Double Trouble. Talk about, real quick, Tommy, the clean and sober chips that you get every year.
Well, every year, and the program I'm in is a 12-step program for your length of sobriety and being clean. They give you a chip or a medallion, and every year I pick one up for Stevie, too. And
so cool.
I give them to his mother. And she's real proud of them. She has them all in little wood casing all along the top of her fireplace. But I remember I went out to MAP in L.A. That's a musician's assistance program.
Okay.
And that was the night Eric Clapton won the Stevie Ray Vaughan Award.
Oh, wow.
And they gave me this eternity chip for Stevie.
Oh, man.
And I'd never seen one before. It's beautiful.
What an honor that must have been.
Oh, yeah. It really was.
Wow. How do you describe this? But if you can try, what was it like playing with Stevie Ray for 10 years, Double Trouble? Obviously, it's life-changing. If you would, sum it up. What was it like for you, man?
It was the best 10 years of my life by far. I mean, it was like such a rare thing in life that not many people get to experience that, and I'm so grateful for it, that it happened. It was very painful when it ended, but at the same time, I can't even put into words what it was like being up on that stage, because we were all intuitive about it. It's like sometimes we'd go to a change and nobody turned around and say, we're going to do this. We just automatically went there together, and it was just being on stage with Stevie was just, I wish I had words for it. I really don't. It was a beautiful thing.
Every year, August 26th, how's that work out for you? Do you take a few moments by yourself and say a prayer, or how do you deal with August 26th every year?
Every year, I wrote this song on the last Storyville record called There's a Light. It's a gospel song.
Yeah.
I wrote that for Stevie. And every year I go home, and it may sound crazy, but I sit and I talk to him for a while.
Oh, man.
And I play some guitar and sing sing to him. And I just, sometimes it feels like he hears me. I don't know what goes on up there when someone dies, but sometimes it seems like I feel his presence. Because when he died, a big part of me died with him. He was my best friend in my whole life. He was, a lot of people know how great a musician he was. He was incredible. But that was just a reflection of the depth of his character.
Oh.
He was a beautiful human being with a really deep spirit.
Those are great words, man. Tommy, what advice would you give kids today about music or substance abuse? Things you'd like to pass on?
Well, as far as substance abuse, I can only say that will cut your career short. While you're on it, you will not make progress. You may think you are, but you're not really. And in a sense, the only reason we became successful is because we've been doing it for so long. But even then, we got into a rut. Our last few gigs were horrible before we got clean. But I guarantee you, the addiction and the drugs and alcohol will take away everything you got, everything. And some young people think I can handle this shit, but nobody can. Nobody can handle it. And as far as music goes, practice with your head. When you get on stage, leave that behind and play from your heart.
Fantastic advice, man. Again, Tommy Shannon, bass player from Double Trouble, thank you very, very much for your time today. On behalf of everybody here from 95 KGGO and the entire world, thank you very much for the contribution you and Double Trouble made to classic rock.
Well, thank you. It's people like you that keep good music going, and God knows we need it.
Oh, it's an honor to bang out as much Stevie Ray and Double Trouble as I can every day, man. It's an honor, believe me when I say that. Tommy,
well, I thank you for it.
Thank you very much for your time, and I wish you the very best, man.
You too, and call me anytime.